It's Doc Martin, the lone journalist at KRAZTV. Well, I'm kind of doing this old school, so I'm taking a camera and filming my computer thing. This is Google Earth, and I found the possible iron door. Now, this is Elk River. This is about 10 miles up, and this is the large bend here. Panther Creek is over here, and this is approximately here is the 142.7 north. Right in here is just to the right of this iron door. Possible notation is where I put the pin that I sent to all the organizations and put in the letter. But looking on 3D, all of this here is a large canyon, and then there's a transverse canyon that comes this way. So I think it could be in here, but when I was standing on the river, this was a bigger opening, and this little, see this little gut, or there's two little rivulets. There's one here and one here, and I think it was about in here that he pointed up to the river to say go up this way, and the iron door was up in here on the left hand side. So this is an update on Seeking Grandfather of April the 6th. So I've been doing a lot of narrowing down of this a little bit, and when we really go in with 3D, it's a deep, steep part, and then this is a gradual canyon, but right here it's pretty steep. You got to have a rope to get across this wild river, and there's a highway or Forest Road 208 that goes along Elk River, and this is Elk River, Oregon, in Curry County. So anyways, maybe the gut was up in here, you see, because I think what they were doing, because I don't know if there's any gold mines per se, but in the old days, the beds maybe ran this way, no, they ran this way. In Klamath, in the ancient riverbeds in California, they run more like this. So you see this feature here. So these may have been ancient beds where the gold was, and it changed, because the river changed dramatically in millions of years. But the first gold that got laid down probably is up on these high bars, you see. And so Bill, Mr. Rosinski, was saying that he and other people would dig in these high bars. Now, he found gold in Elk River, about 400 ounces for his little thing way back when he was gold mining back in the, I don't know, 50s or whatever. So anyways, back to the iron door possible here. The actual ancient beds then could be in here that the Chinese miners of 120 years ago were digging into here. But this is deeper, and a lot of drainage comes out here, so there would be more gold maybe down in here. But in situ, if the beds are in conglomerate and high bars up in here, then it would be along in this area. Then it drops off and it descends down into the canyon here. So this is like a little area. We call it Gold Mountain because that's the name of our little book that we put out about the lost Chinese miners lost in Gold Mountain. The Chinese called America Gold Mountain. So anyway, I'm not going to stay much longer on this, but we'll get back, and then I'll talk to you face to face. So anywhere from in here around is probably the search area. So we've got it really narrowed down. It's only less than, well, from here to here to here might be possibly half mile at the most. So we've narrowed the search for these entombed Chinese miners into somewhere in this area here, I would say. So I'll talk to you later more about my possibles and what people have gotten with me. Thanks for watching here at KRAZTV for update on Seeking Grandfather. Hello and welcome. This is Doc Martin for the update of Seeking Grandfather, this searching for the 100 miners possibly entombed in a mine 120 years ago. So we've had one update talking about LiDAR and getting the quadrants and all. I still haven't got those, but I've gotten on Google Earth Pro, and I just I just showed you, of course it may come after this, the map and all. So I adjusted the coordinates and put a pin and call it Iron Door Possible, but I still think that if it's not there, it's pretty close, because the little creek that went up was a smaller creek than that bigger ribbon of trees that come down, because that's a bigger opening in there. But it may well just be within a few yards of, I think it's less than a few hundred yards either way. You know, it's not even a quarter of a mile between well, just around the bend you can see it. So anyway, that's just going on and on about my carrying on about the maps and all that. But I do have some talking points about what I found out and what a difference a day makes. Today I went down and shot Cyclovia, Tucson. It's a Living Streets Alliance. It's a bicycle where they close off the streets and have all the city agencies and different people like that come, and Arizona Public Media was there and all of those people. So I got to meet one of the renowned and well-respected journalists who does one of the meetings there, and he took my card, and I talked to him about this story, and he and I got along really well, and he says it's a great possibility that what you're saying is very fact. He said a lot of things like that did happen back 120 years ago. So he said you may well be onto something. So at least I got affirmation from a professional journalist who I understand, and I really like him myself because of his track record, and he is a very responsible and he's a true journalist. I'm an independent citizen journalist. I'm investigative, and he admired me for my work, so I appreciate the respect from him. So he's thinking that, yes, you do probably have a good case. Stay with it. And he said you're doing the right thing, sending the letters out to all the organizations like the Oregon Historical Society, the museums, the Physicians Association, Portland Museum, and especially the Chinese Diaspora Project. But I cannot or did not find out of all. I've sent about 12 or 15 letters out to all the associated people, but I couldn't find, or didn't at the time find, the letter to the Chinese Diaspora Project at OU, Southern Oregon University in Ashland. Since then, I found that it's at 211 University Boulevard in Ashland. So I'm going to send one attention to Chelsea Rose, because it seems she's the head or the name on the .edu email to send all this data to. So I'm going to send her a personal letter, because I've tried sending letters and I hear nothing back. And I probably may not hear anything, but at least my job has been done. I told the people I'm the last living person, other than, there may be other people that may know about it up there, but they're not talking. But I think today, if we were to go up there and talk to people and gain their confidence and don't expose them, nobody's going to be finger pointed and say they're guilty, or your parents or your grandparents did this or anything. I'm not out to do. I'm out to find the Chinese miners. That's all I want to do. So I think that other people would say, yes, I remember that story too, but it isn't something we talk about. So that's where I'm at with that. So my other talking points for this update on April the 6th is I showed you the saved image of the Iron Door. We're going to have that up and it'll be on. I am not savvy or doing a live interview where I can switch screens and all that, so I'll show that as a clip and I'll have explanation that I've talked about it. And I was talking about my justification of the choice of targets was also in that little saved image that I'm using a red pointer to move around on the map. So, but I need to consider the smaller rivulets than the larger canyon because that's where I was shown. Of course, it's only a few hundred yards either way, but up that little creek is where he told me go up there. But it looks like more activity was on the larger part, but at the top, I don't know. I just have to get up there. So I have not gotten the quadrant or the LiDAR data. I have to have a ArcGIS viewer, and then I can get a LiDAR viewer for looking at that data. And then I have to overlay so that I only have 7.5 minute quadrangle from the USGS because I want to narrow it down, and there's so many, and I've tried to download it. I may have it somewhere in all my old collections of 7.5 minute maps, and 15 minutes, the early years were 15 minutes. So that's where I'm at with that. But after I do that, then we'll overlay it, and then I'll probably publish it another letter and send it out just to see if there was a follow-up and rattle some more doors and shake on some doors. So the letter to Ashland, to Chelsea Rose of the Chinese Diaspora Project will be going out. And the biggest thing I was doing, I want to announce though, is I said, well, you know, we've sent out letters, we've talked to people. People have watched it at KRAZTV, the breaking news, all was there. But you know what? I don't know if YouTube bans me or shadow bans me because I'm pretty controversial about certain things, you know. But I don't pick on or trash anybody, but I talk about subjects people maybe not like. So I've only got 30 hits on that, but I did put it over at the Zero channel, which is an adult side, and then I put it at KRAZTV Live, and then because we have a Tucson Mineral Mile, because it was gold mining and of interest, we've also published a little in co-authoring with Gem and Mineral Exchange Books, a book called Finding Grandfather, or Seeking Grandfather Lost in Gold Mountain. And that was the Chinese term for America, was Gold Mountain. And I guess I explained the Coolie system before, that the railroads went on a ship and went across to China with bags of gold to give to the villagers and to the head people over there to give them their sons and all that, so they would become the work crews for putting in the railroad. So I don't know if very many Chinese were over here in 1849 and 51 when the big gold rush happened in California, but after that, I mean, there was tons of gold to be found all the way through. But the Transcontinental Railroad and the Chinese built the tunnels across the Sierra Nevadas, and that was the Promontory Point in Utah. That was completed in 1869. We had an interlude with the 1861 through 65 with the Civil War, and that put a hiatus or a kibosh on a lot of the work. So, but after that, then they went ahead and finished up the work, and then after the work was done, well, I hate to tell you, but the railroads didn't send the guys back, and I don't know if they even paid them. Some of the stories are they ran them off, and they really didn't care about the working conditions. See, I'm making a situation where it's not tenable to a lot of people, but it's the truth, so what can I say? The truth will set you free. So anyway, back to the story of the Chinese and after the railroads, they were still getting around, and so they had camps, and they said, well, heck, while we're here and nobody's paying us, and let's just go look for gold. So they started looking for gold, and they set up many things, and this is where the Chinese Diaspora Project comes in, the Aqin and so many other China Bar down in Gold Beach on the Rogue River was huge, and I mean there were places where, and you know, there were hundreds of people working together. They had, you know, all the services. Now I don't know if there were very many women that were in it. It was mostly in. I think the railroads only brought over men, but perhaps there were a few Chinese women that came or disguised themselves as men, you know, or came to. I don't know how it all worked. So it was mostly men that were in these camps that were working around in the different states. So they were all over California, Oregon, and Arizona also. I was talking to my friend George, and he was saying, he's a historian also, about Prescott. There were big mines there, and the Lynx Creek and Bradshaw's, and there was a lot of gold there. But in 1882, they were between 69 after the railroads were done until 1882, there was a lot of contention about the white settlers, let's just call it that. The dominant paradigm then in that time just were tired of watching their gold be dug up by other people that they couldn't get. And so they just got mad and said, hey, we're either going to run them off, we're going to make a law against it. So they first went out and started the Chinese Exclusion Act, and that was the first signed into law by Arthur in 1882. And then after that, then that gave people carte blanche to start lynching and, you know, all that other crap that they did. It was just horrible. So my journalist friend today told me, yeah, a lot of that did happen. So there's a good possibility that it is. And, you know, I guess we could study about a lot of atrocities and all this, but this was, the reason why I'm going on with this is because I know about an intimate part of history on that river, and I was shown that locality. I'm just not out here looking for anything else because, well, the facts are spottier than it was. They're spottier than the ones that coming from the ancestors of the original descendants there. So that's my goal of why I'm doing it. And since I'm too old, well, I'm not too old, but you know, it gets tougher and tougher. And I don't have any money myself. I live on Social Security now. But I still am an investigative journalist, and I've actually gotten more investigative journalism than I did when I was doing history and gold mining back in the 40 years ago. So, to make a long story short, I better get off here because the update shouldn't take that long for you. We're actually working on that. I want to get the news. I said to myself, well, then we need to, since we're slow going, and once we break the news, I need to put it out on national news. Because till this point, the Hells Canyon, Snake River, I guess it is, the Chinese massacre of 31 or 33 Chinese, they were killed by horse thieves and bank robbers that came there. And I think they caught them though, so they hung them or whatever. So that's whatever. But that to date is the largest single fatality record in the, so these 100 miners, if they're found, well, it warrants looking at, is what I'm getting at. So we need to go to wire feeds. So I need to put this up at wire feeds and make press releases. But I want to make absolutely sure that they know that it comes from me and that I'm the one that's doing it. I'm not looking for the glory, but I'm not going to have somebody take this over and then just quietly die off and nothing gets done, because I will be persistent and keep banging on the doors till I get sent away. You know, like, go away, don't deal with it. So I'm going to pursue this as professionally as I can as an independent citizen journalist. So that was my next update, was we need news wire feeds, and some people want it. I guess I should talk about donations. Now, people have been donating lately to my site at KRAZTV.com, and I do have a donate page there. You can go to PayPal, and it's all in an escrow account. So I'm not out here spending the money. I'm actually saving it up to look for these guys. And I think, like I said, the first project we need to do is find the iron door and find the mine. Because if it's found, and if it can be found, and we open the mine, or can open the mine, and no one's in there, then that's the end of the project. If they're in there, then that's where the real work starts. And then the high cost of forensics and, and funeral arrangements and all of that stuff, that's going to be very pricey and probably total a couple of $1 million. So, like I said last time, I was thinking 50,000 because we need LiDAR and all that, but I've been finding the data that I can go online and get it for free now here with Oregon.gov, because they've flown all these in the National Forest, where they've flown all these flights to show the LiDAR. So that's a big help and a big cost, so take that into account. But I have been shipping out letters and stuff, so it's only minor costs right now for postage, and it's just my time doing it. But the newswire feeds, I'm thinking some of them, and I'll try to do it for free, but I need to hit as many of them as I can, and send them out. But if not, then we have to pay, and of course I don't know how much I can afford to pay to give away the story. Then after that, how it'll get picked up. I do want to say that I talked to a friend of mine who owns a charity here in Tucson. I asked him who he listens to, and he said Crystal and Sager at Breaking Points. But I went to Breaking Points, and they're a .local, and you got to pay money to even get on there to talk to them. And I couldn't find a website or an email to try to get a hold of Crystal and Sager to give them this story. Then I wanted to go to Alex Jones, and I thought, well, I don't know. But some people told me, yes, he's tenacious, and he may pick it up too, but I don't know how they're going to feel about it and how other people, whether I'm losing an audience or not. So I guess I should just release it out to all the news feeds, but I do want it picked up so that it brings it to somebody's attention, and they say, we'll look at it. And then after that, of course, it's always going to incur expenses, and who's got the money. But the federal government is giving Oregon on the Chinese diaspora project. The last time, and a couple of years ago, they got $500,000 from the government, from the federal government. Of course, we know how the funding's going now with the present administration. However, I think with the Chinese Benevolent Association and associations, that they might want to, find their ancestors, or find, part of their history that we can at least pay for that. I'm not looking out to make a dollar or anything. I'm not money hungry, and I'm not glory seeking. I'm trying to tell you a story. So anyways, I need to find out other agencies that can help us, and why the Chinese diaspora project is important. So that's it. So, like I said, today my Cyclovia Tucson discussion with the AZPM journalist was quite eye-opening, and I'm glad I did that. So I'm glad I'm updating you. I'm going to put up the map, and we'll point around on there to where the possibles are, and it's pulled out far enough so that you can actually see the wild river of Elk River. Maybe somebody will call this the Elk River Massacre, if it's true, or if it's called the Elk River Incident. I don't know. But I do thank you, and I want to welcome you all for being with me on today's update. Thank you. I'm Doc Martin, Reed J. Martin, Ph.D. Yes, my Ph.D. is in religion. But I am an investigative journalist, and I'm true, and this is not a hoax. I've told people before. Keep listening. I hope you do. Thank you, and goodbye.